Hey nerds, Bevan here, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about toy lines that I wish existed. Before I get into the main video, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. I put out new videos once or twice a week, and it's usually about toys. So as you've seen on my channel the last couple of months, I've been doing a lot of videos on action figures, specifically countdown videos of figures I want for specific sets that I collect. But today I want to do something a little different and talk about the dream toy lines that I have in my head that I wish existed. So the first thing I would like to collect are Harry Potter figures. Now I realize that NECA did a line back in the mid 2000s, and I did collect those quite hard, but I didn't like them that much because there wasn't a whole lot of posability. It was pretty much just a statue with some joints put on for literally no reason, because you would move a limb and then the sculpt wouldn't match up. You know, the folds in the fabric wouldn't line up, and it just looked awkward, and I just didn't like that. But I think if a company like Diamond Select were to do this line, I think it would look really awesome. Just as an example, here's Carnage from the Marvel Diamond Select line, and you have great detail in the sculpt and all the little appendages he has there on his hand, but you still have some decent posability, and you can get some good little poses out of him here. So I think that for like a Harry Potter line would be great, because then you could pose them in like their dueling stances against each other. I think Diamond Select would make a great Voldemort figure specifically. And I think that's just a line that I would like to have in the world one day. Something else I think Diamond could do, or even possibly NECA in this case, would be an awesome Back to the Future line. Now I get that there aren't a ton of characters you can throw in this line, but you can get your Doc and your Marty from each movie. You can get a Biff. You can get a couple background characters in there, and you get like 3 to 4 characters per movie, and I think you have a nice little set there. But again, just for the sculpt, you want to go with a Diamond or a NECA. These characters don't necessarily need that extra articulation, so that's why I included NECA in this. But if you want to throw some articulation in there, Diamond can do that just fine, whereas NECA is more based on that sculpt than the posability of the figure. I have been really into DC lately, whether it's the comics or the animated movies or the cinematic universes or the action figures, because I've picked up a couple recently for the DC line. But I want DC Collectibles to focus more on the film franchises right now. I know they recently put out a Batman vs Superman, Armored Batman and Superman. But the issue with those figures is that they're like $50 each, and I'm looking for something more in that $25 to $30 range to go with the Designer series and the Icon series. But specifically, I want them to focus on the Nolan trilogy and Man of Steel. We did get the Movie Masters from Mattel back in the day, but I think with DC Collectibles, you're going to get a better sculpt. You're going to get better paint apps. You're going to get better scale for the figures that can fit in better with other lines that you collect already. And those are just a couple that I would like to see. The Nolan trilogy, Man of Steel. Put out some Batman vs Superman stuff in that $25 to $30 range, because I don't really want to pay $50 for a domestic action figure. Something I don't really talk about a lot on this channel, but is very important to me, is Disney animation. And I don't just mean like the Disney movies, because I love those, but I also grew up on the Disney Afternoon. Although we didn't call it the Disney Afternoon because we didn't actually have the channels that aired the Disney Afternoon, because I live in Canada, but I still grew up on those cartoons. For those of you who maybe don't know or didn't grow up in the early to mid 90s, Disney Afternoon was a 2-hour block on the Disney Channel, I guess. Like I said, I didn't have the Disney Channel. I grew up on Family and YTV. But this 2-hour block every afternoon showed some of the classic cartoons from my childhood, and I got the Wikipedia page right here. We're talking about DuckTales, Chippendale Rescue Rangers, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck, Goof Troop, Later on, they kind of got into more licensed stuff. So we're talking about like Aladdin and Timon and Pumbaa, the Quack Pack, the Mighty Ducks. Anyone remember the Mighty Ducks cartoon? I sure do. And let's not forget Gargoyles, which is one of the greatest cartoons ever. I would love a line dedicated, and this is probably the one on this list so far that is least likely to happen, but like a line of Disney Afternoon collectible action figures would absolutely rule my world. Now, there's a toy company called Tomy, T-O-M-Y. I'm not sure if they're based in Japan or America, but they make these Pokemon figures, and I have, I have a handful of these. I got, whatever, too many probably. But I got these, and I think they are like great sculptures for like a children's cartoon. You got really good articulation for a guy like this Machamp here, who has the 4 arms, and they all move, and they all look good. And then Mega Lucario here that I got, again, a really good sculpt, really vivid colors on here. And I think a company like Tomy, or maybe even like a Jakks Pacific, would do a really good line of Disney toys. And whether it's the Disney Afternoon, which I would love, I thought of it specifically for this list, but you could also do it for like the Disney animated movies from the 90s. Anything from Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin to Lion King, to modern ones like Frozen and Wreck-It Ralph. Because whenever I do see Disney stuff, it seems it's more like it's those smaller PVC little figurines, or the Barbie dolls, or something similar to that. But I think more of an interactive toy thing could still be successful, even though I described that horribly. And yeah, those are kind of the toy lines I wish existed so that I could collect them and throw too much money at them. My girlfriend's probably happy these lines don't exist, and that therefore I'm not throwing money at Harry Potter and Back to the Future and Disney and DC movies and such and such. But yeah, those are the figures I would like to exist and own. If you would collect any of the lines I talked about in this video today, please hit that like button. And like I said before, if you aren't already, please do subscribe. I put out 1 or 2 videos a week, and it's usually about toys. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Bevan Boychuk. And until next time, folks, I am out like a light.